it's me, Bussy. And today we've got some hot tea concerning RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 brewing. Yes, that is the season that I won't be on, stop asking. Anyways, a just published Queerty article alleges that one of the queens cast into Season 13 has already been disqualified and sent home for alleged sexual misconduct. Of course, parallels between this alleged disqualification and Sherry Pie Season 12 disqualification cannot go unnoticed. Today I'll be talking about Sherry Pie's disqualification and subsequent fallout, what that Season 13 queen did to get disqualified before the show even started filming, and who they might be, and use all of this to have a mature adult conversation about RuPaul's Drag Race disqualification and sexual misconduct. And before we get started, I want to remind you guys to press that like button and hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Now, let's get into it. Sherry Pie, Sherry Pie, Sherry Pie. On March 5th of this year, right before the second episode, which was the premiere containing Sherry Pie's appearance, Miss Sherry posted a Facebook status, of all things, to address the accusations that were bubbling up on gossip sites, news sites like BuzzFeed, and more. This is Joey, and I want to start by saying how sorry I am that I caused such trauma and pain, and how horribly embarrassed and disgusted I am with myself. I know that the pain and hurt that I have caused will never go away, and I know that what I did was wrong and truly cruel. Until being on RuPaul's Drag Race, I never really understood how much my mental health and taking care of things meant. I learned on the show how important loving yourself is, and I don't think I have ever loved myself. Blah, 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 blah. While she does admit to causing trauma and pain to others, there are actually a couple of issues concerning her apology, notably being the lack of substance for what she's actually apologizing for, and the disturbingly large ego she showcases by centering her apology around herself and basically blanket blaming her actions on mental health. Finally, she wraps it all up in a nice little RuPaul's Drag Race taught me how to love myself bow. Even though Sherry Pie technically didn't admit to any of the things that she was accused of, the show took it very seriously. RuPaul's Drag Race tweeted out, "In light of recent developments and Sherry Pie's statement, Sherry Pie has been disqualified from RuPaul's Drag Race." These producers and editors worked quick. I've never seen anything like this on TV. Those editors got a disclaimer up on that episode quicker than you could say shake the dice and steal the rice. As for the rest of the season, it was completely re-edited in order to minimize her screen time. I mean, there was even one runway where they completely cut her out of it. This likely cost them tens of thousands of dollars in post-production fees to go back and comb over episodes to remove this person from their TV show. Not to mention, this was a bit of a PR disaster for RuPaul's Drag Race. Essentially, their family-friendly show was now hosting a contestant that was an alleged sexual predator. Subsequently, Sherry was shunned from the fandom, the franchise, and the drag world at large. What she's up to now, nobody really knows, but I hope she's getting the help that she needs. Cut to September 28th. Michael Musto, a New York City nightlife gossip columnist, has published an article suggesting that Drag Race is in fact trying to be proactive about the people they're casting and what they're doing and what people are saying about them. It seems they're taking accusations, rumors, community opinions, and even evaluating what a queen does in their club act into consideration for keeping them on the show. A quote from the article says, "Pity the NYC drag star. I won't name her, but contrary to some buzz, it's not the popular Jasmine Labeija, who went all the way to LA to shoot RuPaul's Drag Race Season 13 and was sent right back home, wigs in tow, before filming ever began. Challenge lost." I hear the producers found out that in her club act, the queen asks audience members for their phones and then does some comical tinkering, and as a result, everyone there on airdrop gets to see that person's nudies. Eek! Yikes. That sounds pretty gross. After this article was published, people online started trying to connect the dots and figure out who the hell he was talking about. The Queerty article directly states in a very awkward sentence that it is not Jasmine Labeija. It is important to note this little sidebar of information was actually added after the original article was published. This was an important distinction for the article to make because, spoiler alert, it is rumored that Jasmine Labeija has been cast onto Drag Race. Coincidentally, an article published by BrokeAssStewart.com on July 16th, 2018 interviewed that very same Jasmine Labeija. In the article, Jasmine says, "If someone is at my show and on their phone and I see that they're checking Grindr or texting someone or going through their social media, I take their phone and go through their nudes, and sometimes I will show it to the audience because that is so disrespectful. Drag takes a lot of effort." Double yikes. Double yikes. On cursory glance, the two things sound similar. While the article published by BrokeAssStewart confirms a similar comic style to the one mentioned by the article in Queerty, Queerty, it is important to note that the article in Queerty alleges the use of airdrop, while the Broke-Ass Stewart article uses a quote from Jasmine that says that she shows the nudes to the other audience members. Regardless of your feelings on the topic of somebody taking your phone and showing your nudes to other people in the audience, which is gross either way, the articles are not referencing the same thing. And Queerty has even gone through the trouble to say that it is not this person who people online are now saying that it could be. So while the identity of the queen that was allegedly disqualified from the show before it even started is still unknown,
Who's that Pokemon?
we can still discuss whether or not Drag Race made the right decision. Did they go too far? Did they act too quickly? I personally think that any level of sexual misconduct is grounds for investigation at bare minimum, and ultimately, if wrongdoing is found, disqualification. The Queerty article simply doesn't provide enough facts for us to evaluate this on an informed basis. Taken at its base level, yeah, somebody showing my nudes to other audience members? Gross. I don't want that kind of person on my TV. I don't want that kind of person becoming an influencer. I don't believe that that is okay. I asked my patrons what they thought about the alleged disqualification mentioned by the Queerty article. Here's what they said. I'm perplexed on this one, honestly. I don't know if she should have been sent home or not. I don't know. I'm curious as to know which queen it is though. I'm glad she was sent home. I feel like with this behavior, she could have done more we don't know about. I think airdropping someone's news is so wrong, comedic or not. I would feel embarrassed and shameful if that happened to me. Probably not the intended audience, but as a lady person who often goes to drag shows, or did when leaving the house was a thing, I would emphatically not be okay for a performer to share my photos, even if I handed them my phone. I think it was right to drop her like a shablam. I think it would be pertinent to know, did the queen get consent from the person's phone that they took to share photos on their phone? Specifically, nudies. Secondly, were they getting consent from the people that they airdropped the photos to? Had there been consent on both sides, I think we would be having a very different discussion. Because at that point, it would have been a case of adult behavior in an adult venue between consenting adults. If that were the case, then yeah, Drag Race probably made the wrong decision. Finally, it's extremely important to note that this truly is not a Sherry 2.0 situation. What this person did, allegedly, according to the article published by Queerty, is not anywhere near the same level of misconduct that Sherry Pie has been accused of. However, misconduct is misconduct, and any misconduct of a sexual nature should be taken very, very seriously. So I'm happy to see that they made this decision. Because again, any action of a sexual nature without consent is wrong. How can Drag Race avoid this in the future? I think the simple answer is that they can't. They can only act on information when they know it. Nobody can know all things. The casting people cannot possibly know every fact about every drag performer in the entire United States at all times. It's just not feasible. Is it unfortunate that they found out this piece of information about this person after they got them cast and in the studio ready to film? Yes, but at least they did it. They got ahead of the issue. I don't think there's anything they can truly do to prevent another Sherry 2.0. That said, they can continue to rely on community members vetting people that are applying for the show. I don't think it would be too much to ask of every contestant to submit, say, 3 video references from their local community, vetting them as a performer to be cast on the show. So on a final note, I will leave it up to y'all to discuss in the comments. Let me know, what do you think Drag Race should be doing to prevent having people cast in their show that have participated in misconduct, whether it is of a sexual nature or criminal nature, but that would not show up on a background check? And finally, do you think that Drag Race did the right thing by sending this person home based on the limited information we know that was published in the Queerty article? My patrons get benefits like access to my exclusive Discord server, their name and credits, early access to my videos, access to my deleted video archive, exclusive lip sync reaction videos, personal shoutouts, and much more. They make my channel possible, and I want to give a special shout out to Abby, Adam, Blythe, Caroline, Catherine, Chris, Crystal, Curtis, Daniel, Derek, Ed, Elizabeth, Evelyn, Hannah, Hassan, Ivan, Jake, James, Janine, Joseph, Jude, Kelly, Kevin, kind of emo, kind of white girl, Manny, Maxwell, Michelle, Michael H, Michael B, Miguel, Onion Fairy, Oscar V, Oscar D, Terry, Rick, Robin, Shado, Sinclair, Stephanie, Taco Sita, Vanessa, Veronica, Zincat, and Midnight 19, who were all supporting me at my hot tier. Bradley, Cameron, Craig, Evan, Freddie, Glenn, Jenny, Kiki and John, Sailor, Shannon, Sloth's World, Sunshine, Tina, and Timotheus, who were all supporting me at my hottest hot tier, and Kevin, Marty, Mike, Matthew, and Tom, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. Check out my Patreon by clicking the link in the description of this video at patreon.com/BussyQueen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Love ya. Bye.